Few events have shaken the world like the Russian Revolution. If you want to understand modern ideologies, global power dynamics, or even the Cold War, this is where it all begins. So welcome to the Russian Revolution explained through Minecraft. Russia in 1914 was a bomb waiting to explode. Around 80% of the population were poor farmers. The cities were growing fast, but the working conditions were terrible. And on top of that, World War I was swallowing millions of Russian lives. Nobody trusted the Tsar anymore. The people were starving, and all they wanted was for something, anything, to change. Now, meet this guy. His name is Ivan. He's 19. He doesn't know anything about politics or Marxism. He doesn't care about governments or revolutions. All Ivan wants is a piece of bread for his sick mother. He doesn't plan to do any movement, but one day he joins a protest. Not because he wants to be a hero or a revolutionary, but because he sees no other way forward. In the streets, he sees mothers crying because they can't feed their children. He sees all people collapsing from hunger. And he's not the only one who sees it. The soldiers, the very ones who are supposed to protect the Tsar, see it too. And at that moment, some of them lowered their rifles. Others even joined the protest. That's how they began. Not with ideology, not with Marx or Lenin. The Russian Revolution started with hunger. As I said before, the revolution didn't just pop out of thin air. There were a bunch of events that slowly cooked the pot until it exploded, and it didn't happen on the first try. Back in 1905, Russia had a little prequel known as the Bloody Sunday. A priest decided to lead a peaceful march in St. Petersburg to deliver a petition to the Tsar. But the Tsar wasn't really into peaceful protests, so he told his soldiers to start shooting and arresting people. Shockingly, this didn't make him the most loved guy. People were pissed. On top of that, the Industrial Revolution had finally made it to Russia, and peasants from the rural areas flooded into the cities looking for work and found hell instead. People were tired, they wanted change, and the Tsar didn't give a shit. Then, in 1914, Russia joined World War I, which went about as well as you expect. The economy tanked, morale collapsed, and things just kept spiraling. It was a ticking time bomb, until it finally exploded in 1917. In early February, workers all across Petrograd started going on strike, shutting down the city's biggest industries. Things escalated fast. On International Women's Day, the streets filled with rallies and protests, first about food, then about wages, and soon about the system itself. These weren't just angry mobs, they became full-on political gatherings. Within days, over 50,000 workers were marching through the streets. 2 days later, practically every factory in the city had shut down. Petrograd was frozen. The Tsar, watching from his palace, freaked out and told the army to shut them down. But the army had other plans. Some soldiers joined the protesters, others just put down their rifles. With no one left to back him up, he had no choice but to abdicate. And just like that, the Romanov dynasty was over. A new provisional government took charge, but as you'll see, that didn't go much better. The provisional government didn't rule alone. Their power was constantly challenged by another powerful institution, the Petrograd Soviet, which was basically a council of workers. So, how did this work? Basically, they had a weird power-sharing thing going on. The provisional government will make a decision, and then the Soviet will give their opinion. Sometimes they agreed, sometimes they didn't, and things got complicated. The truth is, nobody was really in full control, and people were still angry. The war was still on, the economy was collapsing and food shortages kept getting worse. Meanwhile, socialist Vladimir Lenin was chilling in exile in Switzerland, but after the February Revolution he saw the perfect opportunity to come back. So he reached out to Germany and asked them for a ride, and weirdly enough, Germany said yes. Why? Because they figured, let's send this dude back to Russia. He'll cause chaos and help us win the war. So they stuck him on a sealed train and sent him off to Petrograd. When Lenin arrived, things started shifting. As the leader of the Bolshevik party, his message, all power to the Soviets, began to resonate with the people. The war was hated, the provisional government looked weak, and soon the Bolsheviks were no longer just a radical group. They were the most popular party in Russia. After a couple of key events, Lenin had to flee to Finland for his own safety. While in exile, he kept busy, writing a book and planning his next move. Later that year, he secretly returned to Russia to attend a crucial meeting of the Bolshevik Party. There, the decision was made. It was time for an armed uprising. The Bolsheviks began planning how to seize key locations in Petrograd. They armed workers, soldiers and sailors, and when the moment came, they stormed the Winter Palace. But unlike what you expect from a revolution, the takeover was almost peaceful. There were barely any casualties. And just like that, the Soviets were in power, and Lenin became the head of the new Bolshevik-led government. But of course, not everyone was thrilled. Liberals, monarchists, and all sorts of anti-Bolshevik forces band together to form the White Army. They immediately went to war with the Bolsheviks' Red Army in what became known as the Russian Civil War, which I'll explain in more detail in another video. And that's how Hungary sparked the greatest game-changing update in Russian history. From Bloody Sunday to the fall of the Winter Palace, ordinary people and soldiers rewrote the rules. The revolution remade power, toppled a dynasty and set the stage for a new whole era, the Soviet Union.